My name is Clara Bennett. I'm 26, and for the past 3 years, I thought I knew exactly what love looked like. Living apart from Ethan, my boyfriend, hadn't mattered much. We were practically joined at the hip, texting, video calling, spending weekends together. Or at least, I thought we were. It all began on a quiet Tuesday evening. I was scrolling through Instagram while waiting for my pasta water to boil, the warm steam fogging up my glasses. That's when I noticed it. Something subtle, but sharp enough to make my chest tighten. All our photos, gone. The beach trip from last month? Deleted. My birthday dinner, where I'd worn that emerald green dress? Gone. Even the ridiculous Halloween costumes we'd taken together all vanished. I picked up my phone and dialed him. Hey, did you delete our photos? My voice was steadier than I felt, but I could feel my heart racing. There was a laugh on the other end. Not his usual laugh, the one I'd loved, warm and grounding. This was higher, nervous. Oh, Clara, stop being paranoid. I'm just cleaning up my profile. Too many old photos, you know. My fingers tightened around the phone. These aren't old. They're from last month. Are you serious? He paused. Seriously? You're tracking my social media now? That's controlling, Clara. Maybe focus on your own life instead of obsessing over Instagram. The gaslighting hit me like a fist I hadn't seen coming. My mind spun. Was I imagining it? Could I really be the one overreacting? But intuition, something deeper, unshakable, told me I wasn't. Something was off. I decided to check further. I scrolled through tagged photos. Most were hidden. Even friends' posts that mentioned me had disappeared. And his relationship status, still in a relationship, was no longer linked to my profile. My pasta boiled over as I tried to process it, hands shaking. I wanted to confront him, demand answers, but I knew it would be worse. He'd gaslight me, make me feel even crazier. So I stayed silent and watched, heart pounding. Then I noticed him liking every single post from a woman I vaguely recognized, Vanessa, Ethan's ex-girlfriend. She'd recently moved back to town and was suddenly everywhere online. The thought alone made my stomach drop. I needed answers. I called my roommate, Jenna, who worked at the local bookstore. Sweet, honest, trustworthy. If anyone could tell me what was really happening, it was her. When I explained what I'd seen, her face went pale. She hesitated, then admitted, Clara, Ethan's been talking to Vanessa, constantly. She's been the reason for a lot of the sudden changes. I sat down, stunned, the boiling water now forgotten. My emotions ricocheted between disbelief, betrayal, and a quiet, simmering rage. 3 years together, and suddenly I felt like a stranger in my own relationship. That night, texts came. Gaslighting, lies, and half-truths. Ethan told me I was imagining things, that Vanessa was just a friend. But my gut told me otherwise. Something had shifted. Vanessa was more than a friend, and I was no longer enough to hold Ethan's attention. I spent hours scrolling, documenting, memorizing every inconsistency. The apartment around me blurred into shadows. The only light came from my phone screen, cold and accusing. And yet, even in the panic, a seed of clarity was planted. I realized that to understand the truth, I had to wait, observe, and, if necessary, fight for myself. Something was definitely off. I couldn't sleep that night. The apartment was quiet, but my mind roared with questions, doubts, and that gnawing sense of betrayal. I needed someone to talk to, someone I could trust. That's when I thought of Jenna, my roommate, my friend, the one person who would tell me the truth without filtering it. We met at the small coffee shop 2 blocks from my apartment, the kind of place where the smell of roasted beans clung to your coat and the hum of espresso machines felt like background music to life's dramas. Jenna arrived early, nervous, twisting a napkin in her hands. I hate being in the middle of this, she said, her voice low. But you deserve to know the truth, Clara. My stomach dropped. Just tell me, please. She glanced around, then whispered, Ethan, he's been talking to Vanessa. More than talking. He's hiding things from you. Calls, messages, meetups. It's been going on for weeks. That's why the photos disappeared. That's why he's acting off. My throat tightened. Weeks. Vanessa. Lies. The apartment around me seemed to shrink, the steam from my latte twisting into shadows that mirrored my own twisting thoughts. My hands trembled as I clutched the cup. How long? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Jenna hesitated. Maybe a month? Could be longer. I don't know all the details, but it's constant. He's giggling at his phone, checking it every few minutes. It's different, Clara. He's distracted. And Vanessa? She's intentionally making herself visible on social media, everywhere. I nodded, though it barely registered. My mind was racing. 3 years of shared memories, dinners, trips, laughter, being quietly overwritten. The betrayal cut deep, sharper than any physical wound. Why are you telling me this? I asked, needing to hear it out loud. Because you're my friend, and because I can't watch him do this to you. Jenna's eyes met mine, full of guilt and fear. You need to know. You deserve to make your own decisions. I left the coffee shop with a sense of mounting dread. Every step home felt heavy, like I was walking through a fog that wouldn't lift. Inside my apartment, I began piecing together everything: the deleted photos, the hidden tags, the sudden change in his attention. Texts and calls from Ethan continued. You're imagining things. Vanessa is just a friend. You're being paranoid. The words should have comforted me, if they were true. Instead, each one felt like a slap, a reminder of my vulnerability. I started keeping a mental log, noting every discrepancy, every evasive answer, every flicker of nervousness. I felt like a detective in my own life, tracking clues while my heart simultaneously broke and hardened. Later that evening, I received a text from Jenna. Clara, she just posted a story from a rooftop bar. Red dress, smiling, with him. You need to see this. I froze. My pulse thundered in my ears. Ethan and Vanessa. Together. Publicly. While he told me he was just busy with work, my hand shook as I scrolled through the story. There it was, him, laughing with her, all the things he pretended didn't exist between them. I realized then that I couldn't ignore it anymore. I had to confront the situation, even if it terrified me. Even if it meant shattering the version of my life I thought I knew. That night, I sat on the couch, staring at the darkened city outside my window. My phone glowed in my hand, a silent witness to my heartbreak. I took a deep breath and made a decision. I wouldn't be gaslit. I wouldn't be erased. I would fight for myself, even if that fight looked like something as simple as seeking the truth. For the first time, I understood. Trust can be fragile, and sometimes intuition is the only thing keeping you from losing yourself. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I couldn't wait any longer. The nights spent scrolling, second-guessing, and imagining excuses for him had to end. Ethan needed to answer for himself, and I needed to see the truth, no matter how painful. I texted him. We need to talk tonight, just the two of us. His reply came quickly, casual, as if nothing had changed. Sure, come over. By the time I arrived, the apartment smelled faintly of takeout and cleaning spray. He was leaning against the counter, phone in hand, that same nervous twitch around his mouth. Clara, he said, smiling, but it didn't reach his eyes. Hey, what's up? I took a deep breath, steadying my voice. We need to be honest, all of it, with each other. He laughed lightly. Clara, are you serious? You're imagining things. Vanessa's just a friend. You're overreacting. I felt the anger rising like a tide. A friend deletes our photos, hides all the evidence of a relationship, and posts rooftop bar stories with you. All while gaslighting me? Really, Ethan? His smile faltered. He glanced at the floor, then back at me. Clara, it's complicated. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't know how to tell you. Complicated? I echoed, disbelief laced with fury. You've been hiding her for weeks, pretending nothing is happening, lying to me every day. That's not complicated. That's betrayal. The room seemed smaller suddenly. Shadows clung to the corners, the faint hum of the fridge, the only sound apart from my rapid breathing. Ethan tried to reach for my hand. I pulled back. I trusted you, I said, voice shaking, but firm. 3 years. And for what? So you could pretend our life together didn't exist while chasing Vanessa? He opened his mouth, then closed it. Words failed him for the first time. I could see the panic behind the mask of calm he'd worn for weeks. I thought It's not like you think, he stammered. I shook my head. No, I know. I've seen your texts, your posts, your little secret smiles at your phone, and Jenna told me everything. I can't pretend anymore. His eyes widened. Jenna? You talked to Jenna? Yes, she's my friend. Unlike you, she tells me the truth. The words hit harder than any insult could. I watched him shift uncomfortably. The apartment, once familiar, felt like a stage set for a reckoning. Ethan had always controlled the narrative, but now I was reclaiming it. Tears pricked my eyes. Not from sadness alone, but from the raw, cathartic power of standing up for myself. You can't gaslight me anymore. You can't erase me. You're either honest or this us is over. For a long, tense minute, he said nothing. Then he finally whispered, almost inaudible, "Clara, maybe we've grown apart. Maybe I needed something different." My heart thudded painfully. I had suspected it, but hearing it out loud was a knife twisting slowly. "Different? You needed someone else? Was that Vanessa?" He nodded, shame flickering across his face. "I didn't plan for it to get this messy. I was trying to figure it out before hurting you." I felt the last of my fear dissolve into quiet, controlled fury. "You've already hurt me. You've been lying to me for weeks. And for what? Because you were too selfish to be honest?" He swallowed, eyes darting to the floor. "Clara!" "No. Enough." I took a step back, feeling the air in the room shift around me. "This ends tonight. You've shown me who you are, and I finally see it." Ethan's face paled. He opened his mouth again, but I cut him off. "Don't. I don't want to hear any more excuses. You made your choice. I'm making mine." I grabbed my coat, phone in hand, ready to leave the apartment and never look back. As I walked toward the door, I heard him whisper, "Clara, wait." I didn't. Outside, the city lights blurred as my vision filled with tears. My heartbeat, though loud, felt freeing. I had confronted the betrayal, spoken my truth, and refused to be manipulated any longer. For the first time in weeks, I felt clarity. And in that moment, I knew. I wasn't just walking away from Ethan. I was walking toward myself. This confrontation wasn't the end. It was the beginning of reclaiming my life, my power, and eventually, my happiness. This stops now. The next morning, I woke with a resolve I hadn't felt in weeks. Ethan's lies no longer held power over me. I was done pretending, done wondering, done waiting for him to decide whether he wanted me or Vanessa. I had my own life to reclaim. I called Jenna first. "I need your help," I said. Her laugh, warm and familiar, was the balm my nerves craved. Together we hatched a plan, not petty revenge, but truth. Evidence would speak louder than words. Screenshots, messages, and social proof of his duplicity would make it impossible for Ethan to gaslight anyone else or himself. By evening, I had updated my social media. A simple, clean post, status clear and unambiguous. I wasn't announcing anything dramatic. I was announcing my life back. The reaction was instantaneous. Friends and acquaintances reached out, offering support, validation, and relief. The empowerment felt intoxicating. Ethan noticed quickly. His texts flooded in. "What is this? Clara, this isn't fair. Take it down." I didn't respond. Later, he came to the apartment, storming in like a storm, red-faced and flustered. "Clara, explain this." I looked him in the eye, calm and unshakable. "I don't need to explain. You made your choices. I'm making mine. You can leave now." He sputtered, his excuses useless against the evidence he had provided himself. Vanessa had been caught in screenshots, posts, and texts, her role undeniable. The betrayal laid bare, Ethan could only stare. Jenna and I watched from the couch, quietly victorious. Her presence reminded me that loyalty and honesty still existed in this world. Over the next 2 weeks, Ethan oscillated between rage, denial, and desperate attempts at reconciliation. Social media became his stage, posting vague stories about toxic exes and betrayed hearts. Friends quickly realized the truth when Jenna, laughing, shared the screenshots of the messages and posts Ethan had tried to hide. Public opinion shifted almost overnight. Ethan finally retreated, moving back in with his parents to reflect, leaving behind the apartment, the lies, and the tension he had manufactured. Vanessa disappeared from his life as quickly as she had appeared, leaving him to face the consequences of his actions. Through it all, Jenna and I grew closer. Coffee dates turned into long evenings organizing our shared lives, record collections, movie nights, and quiet conversations about everything we'd been through. What had begun as a friendship rooted in trust became a relationship built on honesty, laughter, and mutual respect. For the first time, love didn't feel like manipulation or self-doubt. It felt simple, solid, real. One evening, I posted a photo of Jenna and me at a trivia night, laughing so hard we couldn't hold our matching "I'm with stupid" shirts straight. A text from Ethan appeared. "I hope you're happy." I smiled. I replied with a picture of us, arms wrapped around each other. We are. Sometimes the best revenge isn't elaborate schemes or dramatic confrontations. Sometimes it's just moving on and finding someone who actually wants to be with you, someone who doesn't need to delete your existence to feel excitement. And sometimes the greatest joy comes from realizing you were stronger than you ever knew, that you didn't need to wait for someone else to see your worth. You already knew. I had been erased once, almost swallowed by lies, but now I was standing taller than ever. Sometimes reclaiming control isn't about confrontation. It's about choosing yourself. Sometimes it's about finally, truly moving on.